to my channel. I'll put the hood on hold for a bit, so I'm going to start the Yamato because that's one of my favourite battleships. If you decide to buy the kit, I've got the Trumpeter 1/200 scale. So the bigger the better as far as I'm concerned. Now, what it starts off with is the lifeboats. So what I'm trying to figure out is the actual colour code for the boats. So I suggest you buy this book if you can. It's a wonderful reference tool for all the structures and so forth of the battleship. Yamato Musashi, which was the sister ship. So let's have a look and see what I can find. Okay, I found what I'm after. So within the instructions, it starts page 1. So you've got to build these boats first, which are ceremonial barges. So they've got them basically painted grey, a bit of wood colour, so forth. So that's the scheme I'm going to do, and it looks like all the boats, so for the ceremonial barges and so forth. What have we got here? Motorboat, again a bit of white, grey. It looks like brass, really, doesn't it, round here, which matches the railing. So white inside, brown or tan. So that's the way I'm going to go. I know you put a lot of, or you will put a lot of work into these boats, and the thing is they'll never display it on sides of the ship because they're all stored internally near the hangar. So it's slid down the side. So if you have a look, where are we? So basically they're stored down here, all along here underneath. Had a little hatch up here, and they used to go on rails, I assume. And yeah, you'd never see them, but you might as well build them. Maybe put them in a display, something like that. Let's see how we go. Okay, so it starts with K. So you got K19. So many of these to make, 2 by the looks of it. K19. Okay. This one. What's the deck? K18. Two. Now I'm just going to build one boat at a time, paint and so forth. Just the way I do it, just makes my life a bit easier. I'll adjust the light in a sec. Okay, so you got these little nibs here. Just have to trim those off. And screw points. shame because they put them right on the edge. It's a bit of a bugger to get to get my glasses. Okay, the problem with these, where the nibs are, you've got a little recess. So you have to dig these out somehow. So what I suggest is a very small blade and just go in like this. You sort of cut like 90 degrees like that. So you got, where are we? So you go cut down across. So I'll probably drive you crazy. But looks like it's the only way you can do it. Without cutting yourself. Be a bugger, isn't it? Must be another way. If you can scrape. Problem is you don't scrape the actual lip here. Get a new blade and see how that goes. Back in a sec. Okay, the best way I found out is get a flat blade. And just get the nib off this way. Careful not to cut yourself, because I probably will. But I think this is the easiest way to do it. And there you have it. It's pretty good. Just takes a bit of, I suppose preparation time's the best to make the model as best as you can, so it pays just to be slow and steady, as they say, wins the race. It's a weird spot to put the sprue gates, nibs I suppose. Okay, but as I say, this works pretty well. Can't complain. And there's not much to remove really, to be honest. I need my eyes, a magnifying glass, because I can't see that well as you get older. Looks pretty good. Maybe a bit of a sand here, just a really fine one. Nothing too drastic. That was close. And as I say, just shaving just a little bit off, to be honest. It's not a massive amount. Well, I don't think it is anyway. Excellent. As I say, that's all you're doing, just shaving a little bit off. Maybe you can run it that way as well if you want to. Make it nice and clean. But as I say, you'll do all this work and there's no spot to actually put them on the ship because they're all stored internally. So I assume there'll be people out there who won't build them at all because no one's going to see them unless you just do a little bit of a display, which would be okay, I think. I can't see any harm in that. Stubborn one. And there you have it. That's turned out pretty well. You just get a really fine brush, a sanding stick. If you got a bit of, I don't know if that's going to fit in there, won't fit in there. And just around the edges where the nibs were. One. With the other one. There we go. Two. Excellent. Okay. So the actual decks are pretty easy to sand. Nibs. Which is good. There's no recess or anything on those, so it's done. Excellent. I'm just there, what's that? Got 2 points here that just overflow, so you probably have to snip those off a bit. There you go. So just stand them back a little bit. You gotta be careful because there's little pieces along the side that you can't touch. So make sure you're cutting off the right amount, the right things really. Get him off. Cut him off. So, see how they fit. They'll fit okay. Bit tight. You may have to sand a little bit off the front, what looks of it. It tends to pop a bit. That's okay. So all that's going to be grey. That'll be a tan colour, which I find quite difficult to actually pick. Now I've got to get the damn thing out, which I probably can't. That's alright. There you go. Okay, next it says K1. K1. Okay. Now these are very flimsy, so you better be very careful of cutting these off. It's K1 on that one. So you get 2 sprues. Okay, one. Excellent. Now there's a bit of stuff that you got to cut off. Just here. You got to be careful so you don't take the whole lot off. I don't know what the best way to cut that, sideways or long ways. Let's have a try this way. That's better. And these just fit on the bottom of the boat, like so. Like so, and run away. And that goes inside like so. Get in there. Okay. Like so. Get some extra thin. You just got to straighten it up a bit in line with the hole. As in that way. Next one. There you sod. Get your glasses. So this one I've got to trim off a little bit more. Yep. Okay. Sure it's well and truly glued in. Okay, so that's him. So what do we do next? I actually might go paint these. I'll prime them anyway. I'll be back. Okay, while still working on the ceremonial barge, when you do the cabins, just make sure that you really file these down flat because they need to sit flush on the deck. If you've got any raised bit, it'll stick out like a sore thumb. So you can't mix them up because obviously 2 different shapes. So once you start to assemble properly and it is flats, it's pretty good. So just make sure you do that. Okay, so here's obviously the, oops, hang on a bit, obviously the barge. These are the funnels, obviously the air ports air vents, I suppose you call them. Not much more to do to it other than obviously a little bit bits and pieces. With the vents, when you cut them off, you can see that you've got to be very careful. There's a lot of where the sprue gate is. You've got to really trim it down. A bit on the sides. That's the ones without the pins. And I just put them on a sanding stick. Bit of a flush. So you got ones with pins. They're the same. So you have to trim these down with a sprue gate. I assume it's because of the injecting mold or whatever they call it. So you've got to obviously do that. Put them together, hopefully. Hopefully it goes together pretty well. If I do it the right side up, it'd be good. I might paint these like a bronzy colour, I think. Yeah, you got to really, they're very thin, but you have to really sand those bits off. Let's see what I can do. Okay, I've sanded both sides. They're very flimsy, but I think once we glue them together and seal them up a bit, I think it should be okay. Let's see how we go. Okay, I used a little bit extra thin. Don't clamp them too quickly because they'll go out of shape at the base. So you just have to put enough force just to seal them, and that's it. Like so. Oops. So you just, as I say, don't put too much force on them. So they will go out of shape. As you can see here, just a bit. So you just got to move it over a bit. Looks alright. Don't stick to my finger. So you got these here. So you got the sprue nips. Cut them off. One on the other side. Here. So I'll just use my sanding stick or sponge. You don't need much. You don't want to get rid of all the detail. Looks pretty good. And this one here, I use a really small sanding stick. You just have to file away. Patience is a virtue, as they say. So, just slow and steady. Like, it's not much material that you're sanding away. Getting together. If I can hang on to it. That's the problem when you get older. Dexterity. Okay. That'll do. As I say, you just need a little bit of glue. Pinch him together. Make sure it's not off kilter. Where's the top? Along the seam line. seam line. So the capillary action happens. A little gentle pressure. And there you have it. So that's the 2 funnels done. What's next? Okay, we've done that. Again, I think I'm just going to prime these first. I won't do anything else. So let's see what colour these panels are. Back to the book. It's up the back of the book somewhere. Where are we? It's further back. Not so. And there's some actual photos of the Yamato. If you ever get a chance to go to Japan, go to Kuri. There's the Yamato Museum. I've been there and it's absolutely fabulous. Really, really good. As you can see, a lot of that's just brass. So what we'll do, prime it, paint it, bit of white. I don't recall seeing a life raft. Oh yes, life raft at the back. That's going to be joy to paint. Don't know about that one. We'll see how we go. Yeah, so obviously it'll come with railings. Oops. Zoom this out. I'll move this over a bit. To this one. There. So you've got obviously a bit of rigging. I've never seen that though. I don't recall seeing that in the instructions. It's a shame. Probably have to make those if you want to. So what we'll do, as I say, got brass, 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 pothole. I don't know how you're going to do those. Steering wheel. Suppose I can do a bit of photo etch now if you want to. So that's going to be grey. This is going to be grey. Just trying to think the best way. Grey. Do we paint around the windows a little brass colour? Not quite sure. Might be a bit hard to do, I think, this scale, but got to be in it to win it. As I say, funnel goes here. As you can see, the holes are not fully round, so it can only go in one way, which is that way. But I'll paint these brassy colour with a little bit of a black stripe up the top, and that's about it. So I might get that going. Okay, I've done a little bit more. I've actually painted, glued him in. A few more bits and pieces to do. A bit of a touch up around here. So he came out pretty well. And I'll do that one. I'll show you how I did that one. What I've done is I find white very hard. So what I've done, I might make this less bright, is used AK light grey. It is a grey white, but I find it better than actual white. I think the Kriegsmarine actually used it in the subs and so forth in World War II. I may be wrong, but I believe that's right. So I use that as a white. It's a grey white, and it gives the perception of white, and it's just easier to use. So I'll show you this one live or on camera and go from there. Okay, what I do, as I say, I'll get the old AKRS 253 it is. This is what I use. I use this instead of the white. It's a grey white, and I just paint along here. Now you need a few coats, so better put my magnifying glass in because I can't see. Hopefully you don't see my big buff head. And we just do underneath. You can do overflow, just touch up if you do a little bit of overflow, which I usually do. So that's the family talking in the background. So, as I say, underneath, and if you do, if you can touch up a little bit further, which I probably will. But who's going to see underneath, I suppose. As I say, I've thinned it down quite a bit, and I use about 3 coats. So that's it. But it turns out alright, I think. Yes, you can see the grey. It's not a vivid white, but I find white just such a frustrating colour to use. Next I'll just start with the photo etch. And that's about it for the barge. Okay, onto the photo etch for the Admiral's barge. You need the propeller, which is PC77, the railings, which is C3334. I assume that's some form of, I imagine it'd be some sort of protective booth of some sort, I suppose. You also need C66, which needs to be bent, which I have no idea what they are. I'll just zoom in if I can. So that's 79, 34, 35. That's 66. And the propeller, which is very small, which is there, which is C77. Now, pretty straightforward. Obviously, the CA glued and away you go. When you do the Admiral's Barge, I'm not quite sure if you can see that on the front here. You've got a preset drilled holes for the railing, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, which coincides with that one there, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's pretty easy to put on. I'd say that this thing here is like a weather shield. Obviously, I'd paint those grey. I'm going to leave the railings brass. The rudder, not quite sure. May paint that, but I'm a bit bewildered. You got a slot here. Where are we? You've got a slot just there to put it in. So yeah, seems a bit dicky. Why'd you have a? I suppose they've all got a rudder, but where does it go? I'd imagine that's that point there would go in there. So you got that little pointy bit. Very technical, I know. Goes in there for the rudder. You also zooming out a bit. Bear with me. You also got these mooring holders, I suppose you'd call them. That's probably a good way to display it, because obviously you won't see it inside the ship, so I'm going to display mine externally. So I'll get those off and paint them. I might paint them on the sprue actually, it might be a bit easier. And then I'll paint that grey, leave those as is. I assume that's a periscope. I'm not quite sure, to be honest. I'll have a look at the Yamato book and I'll let you know. Okay, so I'll get going and see what we can do. Okay, I'm just bending the weather shield now. Just have to be 90 degrees. That's one. Got the fault lines, so it's not too difficult, obviously. That's one. And the Admiral's Barge is pretty salubrious, I suppose, by the looks of things. But I was intrigued how they're all stored inside the boat. Like, if anything happened, I don't know how you're going to get into it. Even a lifeboat, to be honest. So, okay. With these things here, which are very fragile, you've got to bend these in half. So if you have a look, I don't know if you can see, but you can just see a bending. You can just see a faint line. So bend them over like that. Put your magnifying glasses on for this one, I dare say. Over. I don't know what it is. I will look up later on. And there he is. Not much to him, really. Is it for flags? I do not know. Maybe some sort of flagpole. Who would know? I have another one floating around somewhere. There he is. So I'll do him next. And again, I think I'll leave this in brass. I don't think I'll paint him. Is it historically correct? Don't know. But this is the way I do it anyway. So you just fold him over. There's no use gluing, to be honest, so I just fold over. I think it just gives you a two-dimensional sort of thickness. There you go. He's done. So that's done, that's done. Rudder, railing. Okay, I finished all the photo etch except for the weather shield, which will go here. So, got the railing, rudder, propeller. So what I did with the railing, I drilled the holes out a little bit extra. It made it a little bit easier. There could have been more details, like there's marks here and wiring and so forth, which would have been good. So I might have to scratch build that, but I'll think about that later. So yeah, so that's it for now.